This story takes Thanksgiving to a whole other level. It happened a few years ago when I was dating this guy named Mike. We were in a pretty serious relationship to the point where I even moved into his house. He was an alright guy, except he had this unusually weird thing about him. He owned a pet turkey which he kept in his basement. I found it odd as hell, but just went with it. I didn't think it was a big deal seeing as the turkey was harmless and kept away from us and the rest of the house downstairs. Plus, Mike solely took care of the turkey and didn't expect me to help him at all, which I was completely okay with. The day after I officially moved in, I always avoided it. It wasn't like it was a dog or a cat, but Mike would treat it as such. He would keep it in this sizable fenced-in area where the floor was covered in dirt and straw like a barn. There were even troughs for food and water, as well as a dog bed for it. But obviously, there was no dog down there. However, things got worse the longer I stayed at the house. All I wanted for him was to get rid of it. The basement slowly turned into a sty. The angrier I got at how dirty it was, the more he would neglect cleaning it. Over time, we would have nasty arguments over it daily. The constant fights over the turkey put so much strain on our relationship that we stopped sleeping together. I stayed in the bedroom upstairs, while he stayed downstairs, setting up a cot on the other side of the basement, next to his turkey. Over the years, and yes, I mean years that this was all going down, my boyfriend slowly lost his mind. He spent most of his time down in the basement. He was treating that animal like a princess, while I was left feeling like he didn't care about me anymore. Obviously, the whole situation was comical to everyone, but terrible for me. At some point, the thought occurred to me that that turkey could all be a distraction from some other woman. It literally felt better to suspect him of cheating on me with a crack whore than to admit the truth. Then, before I knew it, it was Thanksgiving night. I made sure to tell all my friends and family to avoid our house like the plague. But to my surprise, Thanksgiving Day passed without incident. Mike and I had dinner. Then we went to our respective sleeping destinations. As Mike made his way downstairs, I went upstairs, washed up, then curled into bed. About an hour or two into my sleep, I remember being awoken by loud, strange noises coming from downstairs. It sounded like my boyfriend was with another woman. He was shouting and grunting, and there was this crazy high-pitched wailing echoing through the house. Furious, I went to the kitchen, grabbed a knife, then I went to the basement door. I pressed my ear against the door and tried to listen closely. I couldn't really make out who or what exactly was happening down there, but it sounded freakish, like Mike was cheating on me on Thanksgiving. Left with no other choice, I opened the door and started making my way downstairs. Huh? What the hell are you doing? If I thought my world turned upside down when I first saw my boyfriend's turkey, my universe completely shattered when I saw what was happening to it. My boyfriend was screwing the goddamn turkey. He had the helpless thing strung up so it couldn't escape as he had his way with it. I'd never seen anything so brutal, so sick. He sounded like he was having the time of his life, so sucked into ravaging the turkey that he had no clue I was even there. I could only stand there and watch for a matter of seconds before I was overcome with rage. You monster. Once it was all over, my boyfriend was writhing in a pool of his own blood. The turkey had been abused within an inch of its life and wasn't moving. After hating it for so long, I felt terrible for it at that moment. I can't imagine how much it must have suffered. I called the police right after, not expecting either of them to survive. But in a cruel twist of fate, my ex-boyfriend recovered from his injuries and went to jail for animal cruelty, while the turkey succumbed to the psychological trauma and eventually starved itself to death. I eventually turned myself into the police, so I'm serving multiple years in prison. I know what I did was justified, and there's an argument to be made that I should have gotten off scot-free, but at least my sentence was heavily reduced. However, as much as prison sucks, nothing compares to the weight of this memory in my head. I'll never unsee that sight. No matter what happens for the rest of my life, this will go down as the most horrifying Thanksgiving ever.